Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to do a full in-depth Hackintosh starter guide. So we're going to walk through how to choose the correct hardware, prepare your hypervisor, in this case we're using Proxmox, and then installing macOS Monterey as your Hackintosh OS. So first, let's choose our parts. So for a successfully supported Hackintosh build, you need the correct parts. Hopefully I can help you choose the right ones for the scenario. So both AMD or Intel are supported, as this is Proxmox, so any generation is supported. So you can choose any CPU that you want to. The one I recommend for Hackintosh is the i9 9900K, which has a great Hackintosh performance and a great iGPU that's supported by macOS natively through Metal. The next thing to choose is the RAM. I personally think 32GB of RAM will be plenty, and it doesn't need to be anything fancy. I personally recommend the Corsair Vegeant 3200 MHz memory, which is DDR4 in a 4 8GB stick configuration, and it works great. For storage, you definitely need a solid state drive for booting macOS. I recommend a Crucial MX500 500GB SATA SSD, and that'll boot macOS in decent amount of time. Now the hard part, graphics cards. The most difficult part to Hackintosh is graphics cards, as you need to get it right. You need to get the right graphics card for your needs whilst making sure that it's supported through Metal. You can go as low as the GTX 660, which is supported in Monterey, but it has to be of the Kepler architecture, or you can go as far as a Radeon 7. It's entirely up to you. An RX 580 is brilliant for Hackintosh budget builds, so that's what I recommend. But please consider emailing me, which is harvey@hsve.uk, before buying a GPU that you're unsure is compatible. But you can also do a Google search that will tell you if it's supported through Metal. Motherboard can be whatever you like, as long as it supports the correct parts. I recommend the Gigabyte Z390 series, as it's the most popular for Hackintosh builds whilst having a decent price. And that's it. So now let's go on to preparing and installing Proxmox. So here we are on the PC. As you can see, we're on Google Chrome. So first we need to get the ISO image. To get the ISO, all you need to do is navigate to the Proxmox website, which is proxmox.com. Then we're going to navigate to the download section and select the Proxmox virtual environment option. We're going to then select ISOs and then the Proxmox VE 7.3 ISO installer. Now we're just going to click download. So your download will start. Depending on your internet connection speed, it could take a while. I already have it downloaded, so I'm going to cancel it because I don't need to download it again. But the next part is preparing the USB installer. So to do this, we need a program called Balena Etcher. So we're going to navigate to the website, which is balena.io/etcher. Then we're just going to click, for my case, download for Windows x64, and we're going to wait for that to download. Again, depending on your internet speed, it will take a varied amount of time. So once downloaded, we're going to run the installer. So I won't do that because it's already installed. But once you have it, we're going to open up Balena Etcher. So to do that, just type into your start menu, Balena Etcher. Once you've done that, you should see that a window should appear like this. Now all we need to do is select Flash from File and select our ISO image. You won't be able to see this, but I'm going to select it in the background. So as you can see, I've selected it. Now all we need is a USB flash drive over 4GB. I'm going to plug that into the computer and click Select Target. Then we're going to select our USB device, tick it, and click Select One. Final thing to do is click Flash. You will get a command prompt that wants to make changes to your device. Just click Yes. This is just because it uses command prompt to flash to the USB device. So as you can see, about a minute, 2 minutes, and we're just going to wait for that. So let's wait for that. Also, just to note, make sure you select your USB drive and not something else, because it will wipe out the drive that you select. So if you select a main drive that you have all your stuff on, it will be lost, so be very careful. At some point it will validate what's on the USB drive. That means that we're nearly done, and this shouldn't take long. As you can see, it says finishing, and we've successfully flashed. Now we're just going to take that USB out of our computer, and we're going to boot the installer. So I'm using Proxmox to actually virtualize Proxmox for the purpose of this video. So all I want to do is insert the USB drive into the computer that you want to install Proxmox on, remembering that the computer will come with the Proxmox virtualization server, so you can't run anything else but virtual machines on it. But once we've put the USB drive in, we need to find our boot options key. For Dell this is usually F12, for HP F9, for Asus F8, but if you have another motherboard that's not listed, or the function key that I've said doesn't work, a simple Google search of your motherboard name will find out what the key you need to press is. Once you've found the boot options key, we're going to turn on the computer. So like I said again, I'm using Proxmox, so all I want to do is click start now. For Proxmox, it's escape to enter the BIOS. So I'm just going to do a quick Proxmox thing, such as setting it to 1080p so we can see it. But I'm going to click boot manager, and I'm going to boot from my SanDisk. You see this screen, install Proxmox VE, press enter. Now we're going to wait for it to boot. So you can see that we're on the Proxmox install. We're going to read the user agreements. Once you've done that, click agree. You're going to select your hard disk, mine's an SSD in this case, and click next. Select your country and time zone, and remembering your keyboard layout, and next. Set a secure password that you're going to use, and a secure email that you normally use. Click on next. Then give your host a name, so I've just got this vmhost YT1, and set an IP address. I'm just going to leave this at default, but make sure to change your DNS server to 1.1.1.1. So that's your fully qualified domain name. So vmhost YT1.local. That's it. We're going to click next, and then that's it. All we need to do now is click install. So we're going to wait for the installation process. This can take a while depending on your hardware, but it usually takes about 3 minutes on a SATA SSD. Once the installation has finished, it'll automatically reboot. But if you're impatient and want it to reboot quicker, then just click reboot. And also make sure to remove the installation USB that you used, so then it'll boot into the Proxmox install and not into the installer again. So let's wait for it. When it gets to configuring ManDB, it might appear that the installation is stuck, but it's not. It's just a big package that needs to install. So as you can see, we're on 99%. All we want to do is make sure to remove the install USB when it tells us to. As you can see, it's telling us that it's going to automatically reboot, so we're just going to unplug the USB drive. Then we'll get a black screen, and it will reboot. So let's wait for that. As you can see, automatic boot. You can see now that we have a working Proxmox install. So it's going to load up. Shouldn't take long. And as you can see, you'll be greeted with this screen. So you're going to note down this IP address and look at the URL. You can see it says HTTPS, and it's got a port of 8006. So we're going to go over to our browser and enter that. So let's do it. So here we are on Chrome, and we're going to head to https://10.0.0.54. 1:80:06, press enter. You be greeted with this: your connection is not private. Now you might think, wow, that's not good. But it's fine. It's because Proxmox created a self-signed certificate, so Chrome does not trust that certificate because it's signed by Proxmox. Just click Show Advanced and proceed unsafe. Then username is going to be root and the password is going to be the password that we set in installation. Now you can see Proxmox is successfully installed. Now I'm going to head on to something that might benefit some people. So some people don't have a spare computer. So you can install a desktop GUI on Proxmox so that you can configure it from the same PC. So once you visit the IP, you'll get a message, like I said, that says your connection isn't private. Please don't be alarmed by that. You can just bypass the message. So we're going to install a desktop GUI. So all we need to do is head over to the Proxmox shell right here. Or if you don't have access to the web UI, just use the built-in console that you get when you reach Proxmox and log in with the same credentials that we logged into the web GUI with. So we're going to copy and paste these commands in that are linked in the blog below. So we're going to do this one first. This will update the repositories and the distribution lists. So we're going to do that. That's it. That's all we need to do. Now we're going to install XFCE, LightDM and Chromium. Now this will take a while, about 5 minutes, depending on your internet connection and drive speed. So we're going to wait for this. As you can see, the installation is finished because we get the terminal prompt again. So let's move on to the next command. It is add user, and we're going to give it a name. I'm just going to put Proxmox. Give it a password, so I'll do that. And retype it. Give the user a name, so you put Proxmox user. Skip all them, press Y, and that's it. Now we're going to do systemctl start LightDM. Once you've done that, if we head over to our Proxmox console of our VM or your main Proxmox host, you're going to see the login prompt. So the username is going to be Proxmox and the password that you just set. So as you can see, as easy as that, we've got a Proxmox GUI. So we can click on the internet and we can head to that IP address that we set. So that's going to be it for this part of the video. Now let's go on to setting up our Hackintosh Monterey VM. So I'm going to link back to an old video that I made a couple of months ago on how to do this. But all the commands for the portion of this video are in the blog post that's linked below. So let's go. So we have Proxmox installed. Next, obviously, we need our actual macOS Catalina file. So to do that, I'm obviously going back on torrenting software. So you probably should get a torrenting server because I'm using it. We've got this macOS collection from archive.org, which includes every macOS version. You can download it as ISO images here, so obviously Ventura is there. I haven't got that working as of yet, but I have seen the comment about the Ventura on where to get the ISO file right here. So yeah, that's answered your question. I just can't seem to get it working yet on the Ryzen 7 2700X. So obviously I'm going to be just using Big Sur, but I'm using actual torrent files, so you download it there. And then if you're unfamiliar on how to use something like transmission, you literally pause the download, go to the I at the side, click on files, and then you select which file you want to download. So for example, I don't know, this file, you select that, and then you click start, and then it will seed when it's finished. Pretty straightforward, easy to use, but once you've got your macOS installer, you're good to go. You also need OpenCore, which is pretty easy. OpenCore ISO download, you literally type it into Google. First link here, the GitHub link, and you download the iso.gz file, which I'll do now. And you want to use something called WinRAR to actually extract it, and then you will get an ISO file, which is really easy. So we're now going to actually go on to creating the macOS VM. Now it can be a pain, which that's why I'm walking it through with you today. So we're here in the Proxmox environment. You should already have this installed. Enter your password root, and your password is whatever you set before. So what we're going to do is click create VM. We also need to make sure our ISOs are uploaded, by the way, so I've just got it as a SMB show, but if you've got local volume, there you go. So under ISO images, I've got a lot, I know, but OpenCore 17 ISO, you should have that uploaded, and also your Big Sur ISO. I'm using Big Sur. You can use Monterey Ventura if that works for you. I'm just using Big Sur because I know that it works. So what we're going to do, actually I'm going to use Catalina because I know that works. What we're going to do is click create VM. So here we are. Give it an ID, so I'm going to do 1000. Name it, so obviously macOS. I'll just put YT for reference. And the OS type, you're going to set the OpenCore ISO first as the bootable medium, and then set the operating system type to other. The system is going to be a Q35 machine with OVMF configuration, and just untick pre-enroll keys. TPM you're going to leave as standard, and we're going to go on to disks. So the device is going to be VirtIO block, and then you're going to set it to 64 gigabytes. So I'm going to put it on an SSD because obviously it's better. The CPU, quad core is better, and then do penrin. Or you can do host, but I like doing penrin because it makes it look a bit better showing an Intel CPU. Then unknown. Memory at least 4 gigabytes. Network, we're going to do VMware VMXNet 3 and untick firewall. So we're going to click finish, and we should see VM 1000 show up at the side. So there we go. We have successfully created the VM. Now we're going to add the Catalina boot ISO or whatever you've got. Make sure IDE 0 is listed, and select your Catalina ISO. Click add, and you can see they're both DVD drives, but we need to change that. So to change that, go to PVE and then shell or your node name. I've called it PVE, and do nano etc PVE QEMU server, and then 1000. Let's show on F. We're going to change the IDE volumes to, instead of media CD-ROM, we're going to do it as cache unsafe. Which basically means it changes them into disks. There we go. We're not finished yet. Head over to my blog, and you want to copy and paste the arguments from the blog provided. I'm gonna use the old blog because the new blog's not published, but it will be at the time of the video. So you're going to use these argument files. So I'm using AMD, so I'll copy these. But if you're using Intel, you copy that one. Go back, go all the way to the bottom of the file, and paste it as plain text. Control X, Y, and enter. If we go back over to the macOS VM, you can see that there are hard disks, and we set some arguments as well. On the boot order, you want to make sure that the OpenCore ISO is at the top, followed by the Catalina or Monterey ISO that you selected. Then it's as simple as actually booting it up. So let's do that. So we're going to start the guest. I apologise if it's the resolution isn't great. It's because I'm capturing this very weirdly. So we're greeted with this boot menu, which is UEFI shell. We're going to press enter. Now, any other scenario, this wouldn't be great. We're just going to press enter again. But we're actually going to do FS0 and then colon /system /library /core services /boot.efi. Press enter, and as you can see, we're greeted with the Apple logo, which is absolutely brilliant. So we're going to actually wait for this to boot up. So a video that you'll see right now is us actually upgrading from Catalina to Monterey. I decided to do this because it's more suitable for future macOS builds, as obviously we're in 2022 now, not 2019. So enjoy this upgrade. So as you can see, it's now brung up the install macOS Monterey pop-up window, so we're just going to click continue, agree to all terms, and we're going to click continue. We're going to enter our password, and now we're going to wait again. So it says about 20 minutes. So I'll see you in 20 minutes. So you will have actually seen updates to macOS Monterey as well in this video. Yeah, we updated to Monterey, which is great. It's better than Catalina, but you'll see the install of Catalina and also updating to Monterey. We've already done the EFI folder. A great tool as well is called Hackintosh, which is brilliant. I do not have it installed at the moment. I do not think. Here it is. If you open it up, it basically tells you everything about the computer. So obviously 8 gigs of RAM, yada yada yada. What serial number it's got, what peripherals are plugged in, everything. We've got some boot options that you can change. So the name of the boot loader, which is OpenCore, but you can automatically set up PCIe. Power, you can set power options, just certain utilities. My favourite is displays because it allows you to eject an EDID to your display, so you can actually make it where it says Apple iMac Retina display, Cinema HD display, yada yada yada. The list could go on. So we've done that now, so that's brilliant. Now we go on to actually passing through GPUs. Now, I cannot show you this, but it's fairly easy. I will show you, but it won't work for me. So let's switch back to the Proxmox environment. All you need to do to pass through a GPU is click Add, PCI device, Add devices, and then select your GPU here, like so. Go on Advanced as well, tick all of these boxes, boot up macOS, and it should work. That's if everything is correct. And that's it. You successfully set up the Hackintosh the new way. Congrats. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing and also leave a like so I know to do more Hackintosh videos in the future. Thanks ever so much for watching. Goodbye.